6th. This guy's got a huge one. Don't ask me how I know. Please give it up for Mr. Phil Tilley. I'd like to start out with a few Mormon jokes. Did you hear about the Mormon missionary with a lisp?
What?
He told me that everywhere he went, people kept slamming the door in his face. Mormons don't call themselves Mormons, they call themselves Latter-day Saints, or LDS for short. The other day I was driving through the LDS parking lot when I ran across a couple missionaries I knew. Thank God for Geico. It's tough enough to tell your parents you're gay. It's even tougher if you're Mormon. Imagine the setting. They sit down with their parents and they say, Mom, Dad, Mom, I'm gay. When the Mormons first approached me, I only answered direct questions. They said, Philip, you're not forthcoming. I said, forthcoming? I'm still waiting for the second coming. The missionaries told me that after I became a Mormon, I would still need a checking account, but I would no longer need a savings account. All the money that I used to save, I should give to the church, because only Jesus saves. Now I get to say these famous words, everything you're about to hear is true. I did recently become Mormon. Somebody asked me, geez, Phil, how did they get you? I said, well, it was the missionaries. Not the ones that show up at your house with the white shirts and the black ties, it was the sister missionaries. Those cute young virgins they send straight to your door. When they first showed up at my house, they asked me if I'd like to have a Book of Mormon. I'd never had one before, and I had heard they made excellent doorstops and paperweights. So I took one. 1 week later, they showed back up at my house. They asked me if I had read any of it. I said, no, I'm using it for a paperweight. They asked me if I thought they looked young. I said, yes, they look like you're about 16. They assured me that they had to be at least 18 years old to go on their mission. So I knew they were legal. They gave me an assignment to read and said they'd be back in 1 week. 1 week later, they showed back up. They had cut their hair into bangs and done themselves up like naughty schoolgirls. They said, do we look younger now? I said, Jesus, you look like you're 12. I can't even invite you in my house. My neighbors will think I'm a pedophile. Well, I found out that while they're on their mission, you can provide for them a meal. So I told them, I will provide for you a meal at any restaurant of your choice. They said they had to check their meal platter to see if they had any openings. Well, from where I stood, they had 3 openings, and at least one of them was edible. Saturday evening, and it would have to be chaperoned by a married couple. Was that okay? I said, sure, the more the merrier. When I got there, it was a little embarrassing because I was older than the married couple. I don't think at my age I need a chaperone for a dinner date. Well, while we were having dinner, the missionaries said that they had to be on their mission for 1.5 years. I said, well, I guess it could be said then that for the next 18 months you're doing the missionary position. They squealed with delight, yes! Apparently they didn't know there was another meaning for that. The chaperone did, though. He started to turn purple and quake. I have seen my penis do that just before it blows up. So I figured I probably had stepped over the line. 2 days later, the Mormon bishop shows up at my house. He said, Phil, you can't talk to these girls that way. When they're on their mission, they're not allowed to think about men or boyfriends or sex or any of that. He said, there's a reason we call them sister missionaries. When they're on their mission, they are like nuns. I said, well, why do you allow them to go out there like that for? He said, well, we're trying to bring more men into the fold, and God help me, I really wanted to be deep into their folds. When I first became a Mormon, the Mormons said that they would like me to stop telling dirty jokes, which up until now has been my bread and butter. I told them I would clean my comedy up to PG-13 standards. PG-13 allows me to say one really bad word, like the F word. They said they would allow me to say 0 really bad words. Well, I'm a smart enough guy, I can figure out what words I can get away with and what ones I can't. So instead of using the F word, I went back to using the original F word. Fornicate. So if I call somebody a mother fornicator, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now I have to stick to that standard, because if I don't, they'll fornicate and kick me out. And I can't have that because my girlfriend's Mormon. If I fornicate up and say the F word, she won't fornicate and be my girlfriend or my fiancé, and I really fornicate and want her to be my fiancé, because we're not allowed to fornicate unless we get married, and I really want to get married because I really want to fornicate her. If I fornicate up and fornicate myself out of being able to fornicate and fornicate her, I'll be fornicated. Figuratively, of course. Now please don't ask me to repeat that 3 times really fast, because I can't fucking do it.